Welcome to Midnight Mule FPL. I'm Midnight Mule and this is the video for Game Week 21 where I show you my plans, and it's a slightly longer video than normal but not by much. But before we do that, let's see who did well in Game Week 20. In the Midnight Mule Mini-league, the top scorer for Game Week 20 was Yassine U, or possibly Yassine OU, I don't know. On your left was the team with 97 points. And that was managed with Mbuemo 19, Salah 14, Raul 13, Palmer 10, Vandenberg 10, Solanke 9, Isak 7, Aina 6, De Bruyne 5. So that's pretty good. And then on the bench, no points, but there is Ward. And I think this may be the first team I've seen that actually has Ward as a goalkeeper. So I'm impressed with that. And our league has a new leader with Yusuf Uraki, and I'm very sorry if I got that wrong, with Atomic. They managed 67 points. That was with Mbuemo 19, Salah 14, Palmer 10, Chris Wood 8, Isak 7, and that's all. And on the bench, nothing. As for me, I'm down in 412th. I got 54 points. Nothing to see here, nothing special at all, really. And then on my bench, João Pedro for 9 points. Now, I did consider João Pedro, Enzo, which one should I play? And I got a red arrow, but had I played João Pedro instead of Enzo, I still would have got a red arrow. That's how good my score was. So 54 points. I was outside the 7 million rank for the game week. So I've got my first red arrow in a while. I'm very close to the 3 million mark. There you are. I'm just 5 points in front of 3 million. So not great, but that's fine because I was trying something this season anyway. And I'm going to keep trying stuff, so I really don't mind. It's fun. Thank you very much to everyone who watches these videos and subscribes and likes and leaves comments. But most of all, watching's the main thing. Thank you very much. There's a website I like to look at every week called FPL Gameweek. And on there's a Content Creators League. So I can see how I'm doing compared to all of them. Top content creator at the moment is Ben Krellin. He likes to predict when the doubles and blanks are going to be for the game weeks. Second place is Pras, and down in 6th is James. These three are all very good to be following and listening to. I really enjoy all of them, I think I can say. As for me, I'm all the way down in 73rd, which is 33 points behind Yelena and 38 points behind FPL Heisenberg. Now, what am I going to be doing for Game Week 21? I've actually got a few options, and I really don't know which one I'm doing at the moment, but I have a few days to think about it, so that's nice. Option 1 is to do nothing. There's nothing wrong with any of my players in my mind. Okay, some people might not like my keeper choices, but generally, I don't think any of them are issues. My only real issues are I have no Man United players, and they've got a couple of nice fixtures. And I don't have Gordon from Newcastle. I don't have Hall from Newcastle. They're highly owned, and they could hurt me. I don't have Mbuemo, but that doesn't bother me too much. So with no real issues, I could do nothing and just hold. So that is option number 1. Option number 2, I could sell Foden and get in Gordon because Foden's very lowly owned, Gordon's very highly owned. And if I own Foden and Gordon does well, that's going to hurt me a lot. But if I own Gordon and Foden does well, that's not going to hurt me at all because he's so lowly owned. The trouble with this is I quite like Man City's next 2 fixtures, which is Brentford and Ipswich. And this would really be a FOMO move because I actually think Foden's all right. And a third option, which would be for a hit, I could actually sell Gvardiol to get Hall from Newcastle. And then I've got enough money to swap Enzo for Gordon. Now, it would be a hit, but I'm sure the 2 guys on the right over the next 2 or 3 weeks are going to outscore the 2 guys on the left by at least 4 points. But again, the trouble with this is I don't mind the Man City fixtures. So this is something I'm thinking about, but I don't know. Option number 4, which I've been considering, I'd say there's a 10% chance of this, is I've already burnt through a lot of my chips. I could actually use my second wild card. And then I can make my team whatever I want to. The obvious main downside of this is with the doubles and blanks coming up later in the season, there's probably going to be a better time to use it. And I don't have any major issues with my team at the moment. But this could happen. But there is an option number 5. But before I explain that, I need to go back to what I said before Game Week 1, which was this season I was going to do an experiment, which was if I try and get some money early on, get ahead of other managers, is that going to help me later in the season? to have a better score. So how's that worked out for me? I was going to chase the money. I was going to take hits in order to chase the money. I was going to make early transfers in order to get the rises. So my plan for the season was early on, game week 1, I'd bench boost, game week 2, wild card, then game weeks 3 to 6, I'd absolutely take hits. Game week 20 up to then, which is where we are now, I would just play very template, and by and large I had. And then after that point, I was going to go very template to 29, and then I was going to have safe differentials. And I was hoping for, by game week 6, have a rank of 6.4 million or better. I managed that. But by game week 20, I reckoned I wanted to be at 1.6 million. But I'm actually much closer to 3 million. So because of that, I'm thinking I could actually now park this experiment. I've kind of got in my head the results anyway, and I can do something else for the remaining game weeks, the last 18 game weeks. And then by game week 29, I wanted 800k, and then by the end, 40k. But the trajectory I'm on, that's not going to happen. But I've got 18 game weeks left to have a bit of fun and try something else. So what are the results of my experiment? I'd say chasing the money is not worth it. So although I am, I think, 1.9 million richer than the average content creator in the FPL Gameweek League, I don't really think the extra money is worth what it's cost me. Taking hits, I think that was absolutely worth it. I'm not against taking hits. I would still take hits in the remaining season. It's not worked out and I've got a low rank simply because I didn't get the right players in at different times and I sold players I shouldn't have been selling. But the idea of taking hits is fine. I just didn't get the right players. As for early transfers, in my mind, that's definitely worth doing. There's at least once, maybe twice this season, I've been caught out where I've brought in a player early and then we find out later they get injured or they're benched or something like that. But I kind of think for the extra money you make, that is worth it. So that's how I feel with the experiment. But there is a second secret experiment that I've been tempted to do, but I've not done it yet, but I may do. And that is, a few years ago, I created a program to work out what the best team would be. Now, this is different, and I would say better, than the FPL Hub one. FPL Hub has an AI team, and they will tell you what moves to make, etc. I've built something different, which would give different results, but I think it's potentially more powerful, and I'd quite like to try it. But the only way to try it is to blindly follow it. Now, quite a lot of weeks this season, I've just gone to my model to see what would you suggest me to do, and I generally haven't been doing it. And more often than not, what the model suggests is better than what I do. But throwing darts at a dartboard to choose would be better than what I've been doing. So I may do that. But if I do this, I might either start it this game week, but I'm sure it's going to sell my Man City boys if I do, or I may start it in game week 22, which means Man City get their 2 games against Brentford and Ipswich. Then there's going to be 3 free transfers. Then I say, right, let's just run with this tool I made and let's see what happens. So I'm probably most tempted at the moment to roll this week, roll next week, and then just let the program I wrote take over and see what happens. Now, in no way is that cheating because it's my program. I wrote it. It's using my logic. It just is much quicker getting code to work it out than manually work it out myself. So I'm tempted, but I don't know for sure. So if I do nothing, this is how my team's going to be looking. I'm currently intending to have Salah as captain. Now, I know online at the moment there's a lot of people on X saying they're going to captain Isaac, but I think when we get nearer the game week, quite a few of those are going to bottle it and they're going to go back to Salah. And we'll have his mate Trent in defence. They're away to Nottingham Forest. Vice would be Palmer at home to Bournemouth. I do have Isaac at home to Wolves. I have Gabriel at home to Spurs. Not sure about the keeper. Currently, I've got Fabianski at home to Fulham. I suspect Fulham are going to score, so there won't be a clean sheet there. But he is highly owned, and some managers may be tempted to play him. Now, I have Chris Wood at home to Liverpool. He could certainly get something there. Then Foden away to Brentford with his mate Gvardiol. Rodgers away to Everton. And I see online several people are thinking of maybe benching him for someone else. Some I've seen are saying they're going to bench Wood for someone else, which I think is a bit crazy. And then I've got João Pedro away to Ipswich. And then for my bench, and if any of these come on, I'm fine with that. I've got Ramsdale away to Man United. Now, United did very well at Anfield last game, which means this game I think they're going to be worse. Ramsdale would definitely get some save points. It's just a case of, is he going to let in 1 goal, 2 goals, 7 goals? Don't know. So I'd have the most fun playing Ramsdale, but Fabianski is probably the slightly better pick, but I may swap the keeper yet. Then I've got Enzo at home to Bournemouth, Robinson away to West Ham, and O'Shea at home to Brighton. And then as for the background picture, our new leader, the team is called Atomic. And when I read that, I thought of Blondie. In 1980, I think it was, they had a song Atomic. I think it hit the top of the charts here in the UK for a couple of weeks. Now, lyrically, the song's not great. Musically, the song's not great. But her voice is, I think her voice is really, really beautiful. And I know my wife won't mind me saying that, because my wife doesn't watch these videos, so she's never going to know. So that's supposed to be Debbie Harry, the lead singer of Blondie, roughly how she looked in 1980, wearing her old mule hat and holding a football. There we have it. That's what happened in Game Week 20 and my variety of options I'm currently considering for Game Week 21. We've got the FA Cup, so perhaps some of my players are going to get injured then and force my hand in one direction or the other. Who knows? I hope you have a nice weekend listening to the FA Cup or watching the FA Cup, whatever it is you're doing. And I hope you have a very fun Game Week 21. Thanks for watching. Bye.